Yo, it's Austin. It's time to talk about more clones. Today's topic is gonna be the Super Smash Bros. Franchise.
Everyone knows what Smash is, right? Good. Then I don't need to tell you that back in 1999, when Nintendo was struggling against Sony's PlayStation and the oncoming massacre that was the Dreamcast, that they needed to create something big to stand out. So they took inspiration from several sources. Fighting games were big at the time, what with Street Fighter III, as was the recently founded hub for crossover fiction, fanfiction.net. Sick of the Fox and Pikachu lemon fix, Masahiro Sakurai along with HAL Laboratory tossed their hat into the ring with Super Smash Bros. This did nothing to combat the superior frame rates as seen on the Sega Dreamcast, but Smash was a pretty good start to what would become a beloved franchise. Disclaimer, I actually like Smash, I'm just kidding, except tripping, that's stupid. So what defines a Smash clone to me? I'm just gonna go with a few of the game mechanics. Number 1, 4-player party fighting game based on a 2D or 2.5D playing field. Health bars are fine. Number 2, oh wait, that's everything. Now I'm gonna miss a couple games as there's just too many. I can get to them another time, so please just don't yell at me. I'm very sensitive.
So let's get started with one of the most obvious Smash clones, Onimusha Blade Warriors. What?
Yeah, fucking Onimusha has a Smash clone. Remember that one? It certainly is a game. Actually, Blade Warriors isn't so bad. It's just really weird to see a franchise like Onimusha get itself a party fighting game. But this was during Capcom's adventurous college years. This was when they made Mega Man X an RPG, when they worked with Clover to make gems like Beautiful Joe and God Hand, as well as completely ruin Breath of Fire. They like to play it safe these days, what with being a sequel factory, but some college habits stick forever. So in Onimusha, you've got yourself a pick from one of several super memorable characters, like Samanosuke from the original game or Jubei from the sequel. Unfortunately, we don't get Jean Reno here as this came out before the third one, but thankfully we do get Grunt. Yeah, just fucking Grunt. This nameless warrior wanders battlegrounds in hopes of an opportunity to raise his stature. Lucky for him, he rarely has a break from war, or he would realize how bleak his future is. I guess you can be my main dude. Come on, buddy, let's go. Combat here is actually pretty interesting. Things are done on a tiered backdrop, typically 3 layers. You navigate between the 3 to tackle your opponents. Sure, you can just sit there and mash, but the combat allows for some interesting shit. You can enter a combat stance and quickly maneuver behind your opponents, parry their attacks, and do some very samurai-esque things. It might not have the quick tech you'd see in something like Super Smash Bros. Melee, but the heavier commitment-based movesets lead to some really neat showdowns, even if all the characters control essentially the same. The story mode is pretty straightforward. Go through a bunch of levels half paying attention to the awful story that Onimusha puts out and eventually get to Oda Nobunaga as the final boss. Which, by the way, on most difficulties is fucking insane. It's like, hey look, see the fire everywhere all the time? Yeah, that'll fuck you up, but he's immune to it. Even on easier difficulties, he's still gonna knock you around. Thankfully, you can just cheese the hell out of it. That's what I did. Grab some health and pray the gods at Capcom don't ultimately wish for your demise. And beating this shit just sometimes unlocks things? It's kinda hard to tell, and that's a shame because there's a ton of cool unlockable characters here like, wait, Mega Man EXE? Sorry, Grunt. Keep looking ahead. For some reason, they put Mega Man and even Zero in this game, and leveling them up will give you different movesets and styles. I mean, I appreciate the crossover, but they stick out like a sore thumb, especially considering that the rest of the unlockable cast still visually represents the Onimusha universe. Overall, I can't help but think that Blade Warrior should have been scaled back a bit and given the minigame treatment in one of the sequels. While the content of the single-player mode might be expansive, it'll have you playing the same 1 hour of game over and over until your brain rots out.
Actually, there is a game that did exactly that. Typically when it comes to third-party games, the Wii usually got shafted into the graphics and control scheme department, but that wasn't the case with the Force Unleashed 2.
Force Unleashed 2 was a bit of a controversial sequel. For some reason, the Wii version was the most well-received iteration of it. Despite looking, well, frankly terrible, this was the most completed version of the game. The HD versions on consoles and PC were rushed out, allegedly. But you know what the Wii version had as well? Motion controls! Using Force Lightning required me to do this, and that's all I could really ask for. Oh, also it had a Smash clone. It's fucking terrible. I couldn't even play this without a second person because they just decided not to program AI. I had to wait for Lee to play this with me, and that took like 4 months of convincing. Essentially, just pick your Jedi and fight. You got a health system with no ring outs and good old-fashioned stage hazards to deliver devastating blows. Also, Darth Vader's just way too overpowered. He deals literally like 5 times more damage than other characters, so if you you pick him, you just win. Yeah, let's just make a character objectively better in a fighting game. Oh yeah. Just don't play Force Unleashed. Unless you want to do this. However, do play PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. No, seriously. Okay, this game has an awful name. It's not good, it's bad, and it's terrible. Even the codename title fight wasn't great. You might as well have gone with something like PlayStation Fighting Game. There, I've named your sequel. I'll mail the invoice out later. All of this is besides the point though, because Battle Royale is a fucking solid Smash clone. And I think it gets hate simply because it's just a tiny bit too different, and maybe the smaller character selection. Alright, it's time for my top 5 characters for PlayStation Fighting Game. Nailed it. Number 5, Aryan Stan from Okage Shadow King. Number 4, Jaster from Rogue Galaxy, or Tone from Dark Cloud, either works. Number 3, where the fuck's Dart? Where's Legend of Dragoon 2? Number 2, Zidane from Final Fantasy IX, not Cloud. Fuck Cloud. And number 1, Knack. I'm just kidding. Don't. Number 1, any of your old mascots who you don't have the rights to anymore. Rest in peace, Crash Bandicoot. Despite my bitching, I easily spent more time with All-Stars than I ever did with Brawl. Something about the mechanics really pulled me in and wouldn't let go. For one, being able to use the same profile on my Pita and being able to use the same profile between the PS3 and Vita versions of the game was pretty neat. That way, I could play on the go. But the biggest difference between this and Smash is the KO system. Rather than knocking people off of the stage, your goal was to build up a super meter and then hit them with one of its 3 stages. They all varied greatly in terms of accessibility, power, and usefulness, but the feeling you get when you pull off a sick kill with a more difficult to use super is incredibly satisfying. You gain meter by damaging opponents and can lose it the same way. Things play out essentially like a crazy match of tug of war, so you don't have to worry about insanely skilled players spiking you into oblivion right off the bat. You know, just juggling you around like a crazy person. One of the things that Battle Royale really nails is character familiarity. While it doesn't work with every single one, certain characters control as if you were playing one of their games. Jack and Daxter, Heihachi, Ratchet, and Kratos are really good examples of this. Even Dante feels like a 2D character action game in this style, and makes me wish we got a 2.5D platformer instead of fuck you. Fuck you! I think your experience with All-Stars Battle Royale will change greatly depending on which character you play. I understand that some playing as Evil Cole or the Helghast Soldier may feel a lack of charm, but going into the campaign with Heihachi and ending with Toro the Cat as your final boss is just the best thing ever. I mean, look at this cute bullshit! My heart. It's a shame that Sony cut ties with the developer Superbot Entertainment after this due to a lack of sales. I think that Battle Royale is a super underrated gem on the PS3, and I think given a proper sequel, they could have fleshed out the mechanics into something next level. Hopefully, though, we'll get another chance at it in the future. Just put Dart in the game, okay?
Austin, is that Smash?
Oh no, it's like Kung Fu Panda, Legend of Legendary Legends. Do you want to play?
No.
Okay.
Kung Fu Panda, Showdown of Legendary Legends is the worst name for a video game I've ever seen. I take back everything I just said about Battle Royale. It's fucking 13 syllables, man! What the fuck? Yeah, you heard me right. Kung Fu Panda got its own Smash clone, and pretty recently as well. So with well over a decade of Smash Brothers and other clones to look at for examples, would the devs at Vicious Cycle Software make a good game? Nah, fucking woo! I'll be real, I don't really give a shit about Kung Fu Panda, nor have I seen any of them. So when I see all these characters I don't recognize, it turns into this zoo fighting game. But hey, if that's what the kids are into these days, it's fine. This is probably the most Smash-like game here in the video, as it employs the exact same mechanics. The dodging, blocking, stage ring outs, hazards, it's all pretty much a carbon copy. The only exception being that rather than continuously gaining percentage damage, you cap out at 0%. So if the stage is a little too big, big hits straight up won't take out an opponent. Isn't that great? Let's play the tutorial. I guess we're done with the tutorial. The story mode plays out very simply. As the name implies, you have to fight through a tournament slugging through bears, wolves, and oxen until you beat all of them. Things are pretty simple, and they get spiced up with a couple of different game types, such as essentially coin mode. Yeah, it's not great. Then you get to this one fight where it's you fighting 3 people at the same time, and it's so fucking hard out of nowhere! When the AI knocks you out, they literally stop moving until you spawn. They're death machines ready to kill, and you are their target. Like anthropomorphic Terminators. Oh god. Basically, Kung Fu Panda Magical Girl Showdown of wildly incapable developers is a big mess, and it doesn't even give you the satisfaction of an ending when you beat the game. It's like, zip, you're back at the menu screen.
Awesome sauce! That'd be me.
Great. I'm gonna have to give a hard pass on this one. I suppose with Smash being absent on consoles besides the Wii U, this is all parents could give their kids that was similar. It's like waking up on Christmas Day with an N-Gage instead of a smartphone. Yeah, thanks, Mom. I still remember Christmas 2003. Don't think I don't.
I don't really have much help for games based off of a franchise anyway, but sometimes something will come out of nowhere and surprise you, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Smash Up. No, seriously.
The Turtles have had a bit of a rough time in the mainstream for the past decade. First they have iris and pupils, then they don't. Next they give them lips. So what the fuck, man? At the very least, they're still a household name after all these years. Now, back in 2009, Ubisoft decided to work with Game Arts in order to bring a new TMNT game above ground for the 25th anniversary of the franchise. Wait, Game Arts? You mean that Game Arts? Bomberman Generation, Lunar 1 and 2, fucking Grandia? Why are you guys making a TMNT Smash clone? Can I have another Grandia, though? I guess that means we're in good hands here, even if they made sure to include Smash in the game title. It's pretty lame. I mean, what can I say? It's Super Smash Bros. With a health system. You can still die from stage deaths, but you gotta play smart in order to survive. It's a bit awkward to play with the Wiimote and Nunchuck combo, but it's not something game-breaking by any means. Smash Up has a relatively short campaign, but things flow at a fast pace, so unlocking things is a piece of cake. And because this is Ubisoft, we get a rabbit in here. I mean, I guess it works. It fits in the universe unlike Mega Man. Each of the characters have their own distinct style of fighting, and it's fun to experiment. The Turtles, despite looking similar, all feel different due to the weapon choices. And from the look of things, this iteration of TMNT follows a similar style to that of the 2007 movie. They could have gone with worse, that's for sure. But I will say, whoever decided to make April O'Neil the hot soccer mom wasn't wrong. Though after growing up with this shit, it's hard to imagine April as this fucking ninja chick who wants to make sure her turtle children get to school on time. Anything's better than the fucking weird romance subtext in the Michael Bay film though. Like, actually why? Smash Up is pretty good. Play it with a friend or something. You'll have a good time.
Now, as we all know, not all games are created equal. We've seen the good with PlayStation and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the bad with Kung Fu Panda and Force Unleashed. But how about the ugly?
Take, if you will, a moment to imagine something. A 4-player fighting game starring decades worth of Cartoon Network franchises. An expansive subspace emissary type campaign with crossovers galore. Boss fights, character selection, the whole shebang. Now, think a little harder and imagine a lack of feedback when your hits land, mini games that serve no purpose, AI that will occasionally decide to read every one of your inputs, and a narrator that won't shut the fuck up!
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion XL. Fuck this game, fuck everything about it, and fuck your nostalgia. XL is a port of the 3DS version. If that doesn't say everything, I don't know what will. You know, when I picked this up, I was kinda hoping that it would just fall into the mediocre category. But for some reason, whoever was in charge of audio mixing and design took that dream and crushed it into a million pieces. Everything just feels incredibly unfinished. Like, on top of the performance issues, things just run super janky. Combos and attacks don't have any weight or presence to them, and you can hardly tell whether things are landing properly or not. Not to mention, the floatiness of the games will make deaths just kind of happen. As far as clone goes, we've actually got a few characters here that are Smash rip-offs. For instance, Dexter is basically Pikachu. Like, it's way too close. But my favorite has to be Flapjack, who is Marth. He even has a counter with tickling! Tickling! I mean, to be fair, that's a pretty solid counter. They also straight ripped the Bridge of Eldin out of Brawl here too, but with a Samurai Jack flavor, and no music. Just sound of 1,000 cars flying by. Actually, this whole game feels like the devs saw the alpha build of Brawl and decided to emulate that. Why else would there be a subspace emissary ripoff? Oh yeah, it's fucking awful too. Fighting through waves of enemies just feels incredibly awkward, and the minigames they tossed in to split up the action segments do nothing to contribute to the positives. Like, we have this tank thing, an Angry Birds looking game, and even some weird free-falling one.
Easy there, Dexter. Don't hit anything on the way down.
Oh my god.
This game's sure to piss off fans of certain franchises as well. Johnny Bravo sounds just nothing like himself. The Powerpuff Girls look absolutely terrifying, and they go out of their way to make Aku look like a joke. You remember Aku, the Shogun of Sorrow? Well, look at him here, with Dee Dee. Punch Time Explosion hurts me physically, especially considering that by all means it should actually be a pretty cool game. Most of the shows represented in the roster have aged fairly well, and it would have been cool to see a well-made game come out of it. But right out of the gate is nothing but a disappointing and mentally grating adventure. You can't even play multiplayer without everyone getting annoyed because it boots back to the main menu after every match. Look, apparently no one even cares about this game. This was considered good condition on eBay. Like, what the hell? It's fucking Ridge Racer. And you know what? No, IGN, it's not better than God Hand. Stop it! There is one saving grace at the very least. At the end of the campaign, when all hope is lost, a shining star comes and saves the day. Oh yeah, motherfucking Captain Planet! Captain Planet, he's our hero, gonna take pollution down to zero. He's our powers magnified, and he's fighting all the planet's side. Hear what Captain Planet has to say.
That's why it's so important to burn less of those fuels that pollute the atmosphere and make Earth hotter.
Can people stop this?
Fuck you.
Hello, thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of the other stuff. Also, make sure to follow me on social media, on Twitch, and whatever has you. And thank you guys for sticking around with us for so long. It really means a lot, and I'll see you guys next time.